Losing fat seems straightforward. Eat less, move more, and the fat melts away. At least that's what we've been told. But if that were true, why do so many people, despite putting in the effort, counting calories, and hitting the gym, still feel completely stuck? Because most people trying to lose fat are making mistakes they don't even realize are holding them back. Mistakes that seem small, but are quietly sabotaging your progress, keeping you spinning your wheels, frustrated and ready to quit. Today, we're gonna fix that. I'll break down the biggest mistakes that are keeping you from losing fat, explain why they happen, and most importantly, what you need to do instead. Let's get into it. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever spent a full week eating clean, hitting the gym, staying disciplined, only to step on a scale and see the exact same number staring back at you? Or worse, a higher number. And in that moment, it feels like everything was for nothing. You start questioning your efforts, maybe even debating whether that entire week of workouts and healthy meals was just a waste of time. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Your body weight is not a direct measure of fat loss, and yet most people treat it like a performance review. One bad weigh-in and they've just handed in their notice. What the scale doesn't tell you is why your weight actually fluctuates. And it fluctuates a lot for reasons that have nothing to do with actual fat gain. Water retention, had a slightly salty meal, increased carbs, being stressed, your body can hold on to more water, making you heavier overnight. Your muscles store carbs along with water. Eat more carbs and then just boom, temporary weight gain. Muscle gain. If you're lifting weights as you should be, you might be losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time, which doesn't always reflect on the scale. Just your general digestion and gut content. Haven't been to the bathroom yet? That alone can make a difference. Despite this, people expect their weight to magically drop in a straight line. And when it doesn't, they panic, cut calories even further, add in extra cardio, or worse, just completely give up. And that's the biggest mistake of all. If you want to track real fat loss, you need to look at more than a scale. Try using multiple forms of tracking. Progress photos, taking progress every 2 weeks in the exact same lighting and the same conditions. Over time, you'll see the changes that the scale just doesn't show. Body measurements, measure your waist, biceps and chest every 2 weeks. Even if your weight stays the same, a shrinking waistline proves that fat loss is actually happening. Your strength. Are your lifts going up? If yes, your body is changing, even if the scale hasn't caught up yet. Your clothes may be fitting differently. Looser trousers, down a notch on the belt. This is an underrated sign you're losing fat. Look at the scale as just one tool, but if it's dictating your mood, your motivation, or making you second guess your progress, it's time to shift your focus. So now we've addressed the scale, but if you keep making this next mistake, as dramatic as it sounds, you'll never lose fat and actually keep it off. For decades, we've been hammered with the phrase, eat less, move more, as if it was the ultimate weight loss hack. And sure, on a basic level, that's true. You need to be in a calorie deficit to lose fat. But here's where most people go wrong. They take it to the extreme. They panic cut their calories, surviving on tiny portions of bland chicken breast and a few lettuce leaves, thinking that the less they eat, the faster the fat will melt off. At first, the scale might drop, but soon the body fights back hard. Here's what happens. Your hunger hormones rebel. Ghrelin, aka your hunger hormone, skyrockets, making every food commercial feel like a personal attack. Your metabolism slows down. It doesn't break, but it does slow down. Now your body fears famine, so it starts conserving energy and burning fewer calories. You feel like garbage, energy crashes, workouts suffer, and even your mood tanks. Suddenly, you're snapping over minor inconveniences like someone breathing too loudly. And then comes the breaking point. After days or weeks of deprivation, your body forces you into survival mode. That's when one cookie turns into half the box, or that tiny treat turns into a full-blown binge. Suddenly, you're inhaling everything in sight, promising yourself, I'll start fresh on Monday. This cycle, starving, binging, guilt, repeat, is why extreme calorie restriction never works in the long run. The goal isn't to eat as little as possible, it's to eat in a way that supports fat loss without making you feel miserable. I always tell clients that the ultimate goal is actually to eat as much as possible for the fewest possible calories. Prioritize protein, aim for 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of your body weight per day. This will help you keep muscle, boost your metabolism, and stay full for longer. Remember, you want to at least preserve muscle when dieting, which means you'll look lean and defined rather than just smaller. Eat high volume foods, veggies, fruits, lean proteins, and fiber-rich carbs give you more food for fewer calories. A big plate of roasted potatoes, greens, and chicken will keep you way more satisfied than a tiny handful of granola with full-fat yogurt that has the same calories. Don't go too aggressive with your deficit. A sustainable calorie deficit is around 20 to 25%, not a starvation diet. This will help reduce the risk of extreme hunger and cravings. Use food swaps, not total restriction. Love ice cream? Get a lower calorie version and have it with fruit instead of cutting it out completely. Craving pizza? Maybe have some pizza. If not, make a high protein version instead of just avoiding it altogether. Fat loss should never feel like suffering. You don't need to survive on a diet. You need a plan you can actually stick to. The next mistake held me back for years, and when I shifted my focus, the process became a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable. 7 years ago, I was pretty deep into biohacking. And when I say deep, I mean all in. I was the guy meticulously timing meals, obsessing over clean eating, sauna, cold showers, and dropping money on every supplement I could get my hands on. Intermittent fasting daily, of course. Sometimes pushing it to 72-hour fasts just to supercharge my results. Seed oils, not a drop. Carbs only at dinner, because obviously that's how you optimize fat burning. Every meal was 100% clean, no expectations, because I thought that even one single processed food would sabotage my metabolism. And did it work? Kinda, but not really. I wasted insane amounts of time and money, consistently stressing over every tiny detail, and every time I messed up, I'd feel like a failure, leading to either a binge or a complete diet reset. I was splitting hairs over things that barely move the needle. And that's exactly what I see so many people do today, getting lost in the unimportant details while ignoring the things that actually matter. Last year, I was the most flexible with my diet I have ever been, and I ended up getting to 5% and actually stepping on stage. So let's clear up some of the biggest misconceptions. Should I eat 5 to 6 meals a day or just fast for 20 hours? What's the optimal frequency? The truth, it doesn't matter for fat loss. Total calories dictate whether you lose fat, maintain, or gain weight, not how often you eat. The best approach, whatever fits your lifestyle in the long run. If this is your 3rd or 4th attempt at intermittent fasting and you always end up binging at night, it's not for you. If you prefer fewer, bigger meals because you hate snacking, great. If eating every 3 to 4 hours helps you stay on track, also great. The key is consistency, not some magical meal timing formula. Is white rice bad? Should I only eat brown rice? What about sweet potatoes versus white potatoes? Here's the truth. Glycemic index is irrelevant unless you're eating carbs by themselves, and not many people do that. The moment you add protein, fiber, or fat to your meal, the GI changes completely. So instead of over-analyzing carb sources, focus on satiety. If white rice fills you up more than brown rice, eat white rice. If you prefer sweet potatoes over regular potatoes, go for it. Always pair your carbs with protein and fiber. This keeps you fuller longer and helps stabilize energy levels. Many people obsess over protein timing, thinking they need exactly 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal, evenly spread across 6 meals for maximum muscle retention. In reality, it barely makes a difference. Studies show 3 meals versus 6 meals results in similar muscle retention and growth, as long as your total daily protein intake is high enough. I personally go for 4 protein servings a day, 3 meals, and either a protein shake or some Greek yogurt. If you struggle to get enough protein in one meal, get more in the next. What matters is your daily total, not whether you've spread it evenly. Low carb versus high carb, keto versus balanced macros. The debate never ends. But when calories and protein are equal, studies show no significant difference in fat loss between high carb and low carb diets. So instead of forcing yourself into a diet that feels miserable, ask yourself, do you enjoy higher carb meals? Great. Go for more carbs. Do you feel better on lower carbs and higher fats? That also works too. Fat loss isn't about the perfect macro split. It's about what's sustainable for you. I see this often. People panic when they go over their calories for the day, thinking they've ruined their entire progress. But fat loss doesn't happen in a strict 24-hour window. It's about your average intake over the week and months. If you overeat slightly today, just balance it out tomorrow or just forget about it. If you undereat one day, you don't need to make up for it. What matters is the overall trend, not one single day's intake. As I said, I used to believe that eating any processed food would slow my metabolism. Total nonsense. Sure, nutritious whole foods should make up most of your diet, but having a bit of chocolate, some crisps, or the occasional burger won't ruin your progress. A 18 to 90% whole food approach is great. A 100% rigid, clean diet, likely to backfire. Long-term fat loss is not about perfection. It's about your version of balance. I wasted years stressing over the tiny details that didn't matter while ignoring the big picture. Total calories determine fat loss, not meal timing, carb type, or macro ratios. Protein and fiber will keep you full, so eat enough of both of them. The internet is full of overcomplicated advice that makes fat loss feel like a full-time job. But when you strip away the nonsense, the process is simple. Eat in a way that's sustainable, enjoyable, and works for you while still hitting your protein and calorie targets. So before you stress over whether your carbs are too high GI or whether you should be eating 3 to 6 meals a day, ask yourself, is this actually helping me stay consistent? Because consistency, not biohacks, is what gets you results. The final mistake may actually be the most common mistake, and once you stop doing it, you'll never have to diet again. I remember when I dropped 20 pounds in 1 month, which at the time felt like a massive win. Carbs, gone. Meals, just protein with a sad little salad on the side. Sure, the scale was moving fast, but so was my energy, straight to the ground. My workouts, horrible. My hunger, through the roof. And when I finally looked in the mirror, I didn't see a leaner, stronger version of myself. I saw a deflated, exhausted version that I barely recognized. Because here's what no one tells you about rapid weight loss. You're not just losing fat, you're losing muscle, water, along with your sanity. And if you go too extreme, you're almost guaranteed to rebound, gaining the weight back just as fast as you lost it. Research consistently shows that fast weight loss often leads to muscle loss, which is the last thing you want if your goal is to get lean and actually stay that way. A smarter approach, aim to lose 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week. This might not sound as exciting as dropping 10 pounds overnight, but it's a difference between actually having sustainable fat loss versus yo-yo dieting for the next 5 years. In this first few weeks, it's normal to lose weight a bit faster, around 1.5% per week, as your body drops water weight and you generally have more body fat to lose. But after that, slower is better. Here's what that looks like in real life. If you weigh 200 pounds, aim for 1 to 2 pounds per week. If you weigh 150 pounds, aim for 0.75 to 1.5 pounds per week. This is on average, remember. As mentioned earlier, a calorie deficit of 20 to 25% is more than enough to see progress without driving up hunger, tanking energy, and losing muscle. I get it, slow progress can feel frustrating, but the people who succeed in fat loss aren't the ones who rush the process. They're the ones who actually trust it. Focus on performance, not just the scale. Getting stronger in the gym, clothes fitting better, that's progress. Remember, the goal isn't just losing weight, it's losing fat while keeping muscle. So when you reach your goal, you actually look like how you want to look. Losing weight is easy, keeping it off is the real challenge. And if you rush the process, you're setting yourself up for failure before you even start. So are you in this for fast results that don't last, or sustainable results that actually stick? If you've made any of these mistakes, congratulations, you're human. I've made all these mistakes at some point. Obsessing over the scale, slashing calories to misery levels, getting lost in pointless details, and expecting results yesterday. But here's the thing, fat loss isn't a complicated science experiment, it's a game of consistency. And if you take one thing, well, a few things away from this video, let it be these. The scale doesn't tell you the whole story, track real progress. Eating less isn't always better. Fuel your body smartly. Stop sweating over the small stuff. Focus on what actually matters. Impatience ruins results. Give your body time to change. The people who win at fat loss aren't the ones with a perfect diet or flawless willpower. They're the ones who stick with it long enough to see results. So before you panic over some random weight fluctuation, cut your calories down to bird food, or stress over whether your rice is white or brown, pause, breathe, stick to the basics, because when you do that consistently, the results will take care of themselves. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these mistakes have you made? Which of these mistakes do you keep making? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you're tired of guessing, spinning your wheels and not seeing results, check out the links in the description for my one-to-one coaching. No crash diets, no gimmicks, just a real plan that fits your life. Hit like, subscribe, and let's get you the results you've been chasing without the nonsense. Have the best day, and I'll see you in the next one.